In the early years of the Second World War, U.S. Vice President Henry A. Wallace delivered a stirring speech. In it, he alluded to what many had already coined as the American century, but proclaimed further that, after this war, it can be, and must be, the century of the common man. His vision simply was that soon the common man would be given the freedom to be industriously self-reliant in a global environment where there would be neither military nor economic imperialism. Venice Beach, California is a unique place where both the common and often the uncommon man can be encountered. Streets of Venice is such a story.
You know, Herv, The Who are so cool. I love this song.
Great song, but the title, Baba O'Reilly. Any idea what it means? You're a philosophy and music major.
I do, as a matter of fact. I'm not just another pretty face. It's a combination of Pete Townshend's philosophical mentor and his musical mentor, the Guru Meher Baba from India, and Terry Riley, a minimalist musical genius from California.
Far out. And your scent. What is that?
Patchouli and sweat, baby. You know, Herv, hey, it's a beautiful day. Let's go up on the roof deck for some sun and a toke.
Some rooftop volleyball?
Maybe later. There's a naked volleyball game in an hour. Let's get a little high first.
Sherry, you rolled the best spliffs.
It's all in the wrist, baby, and lots of practice.
You know, Rochdale's a unique place that represents a brave new world we are creating. We're lucky to be here and be part of the change.
Yeah, but the Rochdale concept is not new, you know. Our college is actually named after the first cooperative established 1844 in the town of Rochdale, England. The society was founded by 28 local residents as a response to the high cost and poor quality of basic foodstuffs at the time. These pioneers were notable for combining the notion of collective dividends and investing surpluses for the benefit of its members. They, in particular, placed a strong emphasis on their education system. Rochdale was the precursor to the Mondragon Group from Spain, now a huge conglomerate and most successful cooperative in the world.
Cooperatives, yes, the way of the future. Competition is old paradigm. The future of mankind is love and cooperation, not competition and fighting for artificially created shortages. Capitalism is a parasite on the planet. Its endless extraction of resources taken forcefully from indigenous peoples via destabilization through war of local communities to control and extract resources, including slaves. Artificial shortages of food and shelter and energy, the thirst of oil. All quite unsustainable for a planet of almost 4 billion people today. Look at that crazy war in Vietnam. Nixon promised to end it by 1971. Instead, Tricky Dick escalates it doing secret bombing missions into Cambodia, going on right now. All about extraction and control of others' resources. I'm taking an ecology course, you know.
What's that? I thought you were in journalism.
Yeah, that's my major. I graduate this year and ready to take the good news to the streets. Ecology is an elective focusing on how to create a sustainable ecosystem for humans where everything else exists in a balance of interdependency. Did you know oil production in the US peaked in 1970 and will start to decline worldwide by 1995? Imagine a world economy based on cheap, non-renewable fossil fuel energy.
The OPEC oil group creates an artificial shortage as we speak.
A little music. There's a new world being created, starting with how we do food. We gotta stop eating animals, inhumane and unsustainable. Did you know there's something called a health food store that's just opened on Bloor Street called Noah's, all organic man?
Far out, but what do you mean by organic?
Organic means your food has been grown and raised naturally, using natural seeds and processes without pesticides or chemical fertilizers or growth hormones. You are what you eat, baby. And I could be you by morning.
Ha ha!
We are part of the age of Aquarius. The cosmic forces are in motion. We are changing the world, and this is just one of the movements our generation has started. It will be a process over the years to come, but already many movements of higher vibration are taking hold, like yoga in the West, natural healing modalities, Eastern philosophy, and religion. The Greenpeace eco-warrior group, the peace and anti-war movements, civil rights and the overthrow of apartheid in South Africa, cannabis and mind-expanding natural healing substances to attain higher states of consciousness, greater respect for Native American and indigenous cultures, the ecological movement, the animal rights movement, and the vegetarian and vegan movements.
And don't forget the feminist movement and gender equality, the sexual liberation revolution, the tearing down of color barriers, the anti-global capitalist movement, street theater and public art, and communal and cooperative living.
And permaculture and local community food security movements, giant music festival gatherings, cyberspace, and the computer revolution.
Yes, I can feel the zeitgeist all moving to a more peaceful, trusting place. It's the only way. The lower vibrations of competition, war, and fear are slipping away. Love is the answer, the highest vibration humans can attain. Tolstoy wrote eloquently and convincingly on this in 1860 in his novel War and Peace.
There'll be obstacles, of course, and the man won't go down without a fight. They will try and subvert, infiltrate, and co-opt all of these movements.
Right on, brother. But, you know, even here in Rochdale, you can feel the trip getting heavy. Some bad drugs have moved in, and I even heard about an outside security firm moving in.
I've heard something similar, but that ain't no security firm. I heard it's actually a biker gang who have threatened the council members and intends to use Rochdale to stage a heavy drug trade.
All right, everyone, now listen up.
Speak of the devil.
I am Tenpin. We've just been hired by Rochdale as your personal in-house security service. For your safety and security, it's been decided to close the rooftop area effective immediately.
No way, man. You can't do that. The residents never approved a new security service.
Guess you missed the memo, bright boy. We've been hired to look after the place and make sure the business interests of Rochdale are in good hands.
Yeah, the hard drug business, you mean.
We're soon going to be creating a rooftop garden up here. We know some plants that'll grow real well. Ha ha!
Let's get out of here, Herv.
You guys are deadbeat ripoffs. You're here to sell drugs, and there's no fucking security problems on the rooftop, so go fuck yourselves.
Oh, Joe College thinks he's a security expert. We're the experts, and we are in charge. There happens to be serious issues up here. Hawk, go take care of this guy.
Here you go, buddy. You're taking the fast way down.
Like I said, safety and security issues are our responsibility. You tripping out hippies always thinking you can fly, like your friend here. You all saw it? The stoned hippie thought he could fly. Dumb fuck.
Never understood why. If they think they can fly, they don't take off from the ground.
You hippies were all stoned and Flyboy clearly jumped. That's why the rooftops closed from here on. Now the rest of you, out of here.
And he really threw the kid off the roof?
We had just left, but didn't see it happen, but the kid died.
And what did they do to the biker?
These gangs have really good lawyers, you know. The biker got off with a manslaughter charge. It all happened so fast and happened out of plain view. The bikers stuck to their story that the guy was high and wanted to fly, and it didn't help that the autopsy report showed the guy actually had quite a bit of pot in his blood. The biker served some time, then was out. Prison time is a real badge of honor in that culture. Interesting how, with my early experiences at Rochdale and your experience in teaching your MBA class, how we seem to have come to very similar conclusions on our present Western society. So, Lance, how did things end up with that class? Did you ever get to sample that shot in the dark? Tell me more.
It sure came to a dramatic conclusion in the final class of the course. It started as usual, right on time. Good morning and welcome to our final class in your 420 journey in a year like no other. Just 10 short weeks ago, we started our unique task in sorting out the global economy's biggest problem of all time. And here we are at the final class. A few classes ago, Fahad went quite far afield to ask whether we, in fact, were in the end of times, as predicted by the Mayans thousands of years ago, with the end being ominously approaching December 21st, 2012. I, of course, knew nothing on this topic and how it could possibly tie into our course. Luckily, however, I have a good friend, Robert Sabella, who is a professional astrologer. I spoke to Robert about Fahad's question, and to my surprise, he has given me some very interesting insights into the subject, which I believe does, in fact, tie into our present discussion on the global economic problem and what the future might hold. Today, then, our last class, we are in for a special treat as we have Robert Sabella here as a guest speaker. Robert's perspective includes an understanding of the Mayan calendar as well as being a pretty savvy business guy in his own right, having run his own specialty design and construction company, another lifetime ago, of course. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Robert to see if there are any answers out there in the cosmos to our class conundrum.
Thanks, Lance. Good morning. I am indeed an astrologer. An astrologer speaking to an MBA class. Seem surprising? Would it surprise you to know that many Fortune 500 companies retain astrologers as part of their strategic decision-making process? It's true, and it's been that way for some time. J.P. Morgan's astrologer, for example, famously advised him not to take the Titanic's fateful voyage. President Ronald Reagan and Walt Disney are other notables who employed astrologers regularly in the past. Some 20 years ago, large financial investment houses began hiring consultants who advised in an area being called astroeconomics. Such practices are now more and more mainstream. Chrysler CEO Lee Iacocca even made the connection between planetary cycles and what we refer to as the business cycle. Yes? Michael?
Hey, how did you know my name?
It's not that hard. What's your question, Michael?
I know nothing about astrology. How does it work?
Well, it's like this. Life is filled with choices. In fact, for the cognitive individual, it's literally a stream of choices. As one gets older, one develops certain principles and an inner compass upon which to base many of these choices. In the entrepreneurial world, the stories of the richest people in the world abound with their ability to trust their intuition, their gut, inspirations, and visions. There are many such expressions. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Ray Kroc of McDonald's, Howard Schultz of Starbucks, Michael Dell of Dell Computers, and Richard Branson of Virgin, all visionaries of sorts. They see things others do not. These are examples of people who use senses beyond our basic five, sometimes referred to as the sixth sense. Yes? Jay?
How's he doing that? Okay, I see where you are going with this, but can't you just flip a coin or throw a dart at a wall of listed stocks and get to the same place? What's the difference between what you're describing and just plain luck? Being lucky is important, and the Chinese have known this for centuries. Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers, made a good point of how lucky these so-called visionaries really are. After all, isn't a genius just someone who guessed right? I mean, sometimes the planets just...
The planets just align? And it seems you've answered your own question. Yes, the planets literally do align, creating an influence on us all at all times. From a simple biological and physics point of view, we are made up of 70% water. The same gravitational force from the moon that has such a dramatic influence on the massive ocean tides daily is also exerting a pull on our aqueous constitution. Just wait till the next full moon and ask your local police department or hospital emergency room about the increased activities that goes on. And that's just our little moon. There are many heavenly bodies in our galaxy that exert influences on your psyche continuously.
So what are the mechanics? I've heard about charts and readings and stuff for people. How can that possibly apply to a corporation?
The chart readings you refer to go back thousands of years, and people like the Mayans, Egyptians, Druids, and civilizations in India and China tracked the movement of the constellations in great detail to accurately predict their cycles. This knowledge of the planet's cycles and its accuracy allows one to create a chart, and this is where it gets personal. By that I mean, if you are able to know a birthplace and birth time, one can create a chart of where the celestial bodies were positioned from that reference point. The relative planet's positioning can then provide information on what the celestial influences were at that point in time, and what paths are likely to unfold for that person or entity. That is it in a nutshell.
Yes?
Fahad.
Haha, he's good. So, are you saying you can predict the future with astrology?
Not at all. And this is a good point. A key part of the human condition is our ability to make choices, as I explained earlier. We make choices throughout our day, throughout our life. These choices shape your life. Like, should I go to this school or that school? Should I take that course? Should I marry that person? Should I board the Titanic today? Should I get up today or stay in bed? Should I take a ride with these people or walk? Choices, choices. What astrology offers, based on an understanding of the celestial forces when you came into existence and the current planetary positions, is information for any given day as to the predisposition to an outcome. It is simply a likelihood of things unfolding in a certain way. In all of it, one must still make a choice. When one has an awareness of the astrological influences at the time, it can assist in making these choices, just like consulting a surf forecast before paddling out to sea. Have you ever had the experience of being in the flow? Michael Jordan called it being in the zone. When in the zone, one seems in step with the universe. Ideas and positive outcomes just flow from somewhere, and certainly not your brain. Can anyone relate to this? Yes? Lucy?
Okay, what's with the names? Anyway, the in the flow thing, I totally get it. Sometimes I'm swept along in the zone, and the people and information show up right on time, and sometimes, in the nick of time, ideas can come to me like magic. It doesn't happen as often as I'd like, but I can tell when it does. It's amazing.
Yes. Astrology, when practiced correctly, can offer the possibility of this occurring more and more often.
So, okay, how does this all relate to our class, and what's going on out there, and what choices we make in business?
For starters, Fahad, not only can a person have an astrological chart, but corporations and places have astrological charts as well. They too have birthplaces and start times, and an astrological chart can be created for them. Let's take the company Microsoft, for example. Here is their astrological chart. This chart is based on the launch date of its legendary MS-DOS operating platform, which formed the foundation for its incredible initial wealth. What we see here are 3 of the 4 financial planets in alignment. The 4 financial planets are Venus, Chiron, Neptune, and Pluto. Whenever planets are aligned such as this, it forms what is referred to as magical symmetrical planetary geometry, and it helps to make money. And in this case, a lot of money. Almost every super successful corporation is helped by at least one financial aspect, but whenever 3 or more financial planets combine, the resulting pattern is one of the most powerful alignments of planets for making money. And the DOS chart has such an alignment.
Yes?
Sarah.
He's a psychic too, I think. So, what about the Mayans and the end of time? What's that part all about? Are we in the end of time?
A good time to get into that. The main reason I'm here. The short answer to your question is yes, we are in the end of times. But you have to understand what the Mayans meant by that. Understand first that they were highly advanced astronomers. They not only knew of the movement of our planets accurately, they also understood Earth's movement, relative to its position in our galaxy, the gigantic Milky Way. In this context, the Mayans understood that our sun star has a 25,000-year orbit around another star in the galaxy. It is this tracking that governed what is known as the Mayan calendar. December 21st, 2012 was charted as the date of the end of time. That is to say, the end of a 25,000-year orbit. They understood this as the end of time in their existing calendar, and importantly, the beginning of the next calendar cycle.
That's quite a bit to swallow, Robert. How could they possibly have figured something like that out? They didn't have telescopes or modern technologies to record and analyze that kind of information.
Well, let's look at that for a moment. Ancient civilizations may have not have had the modern technologies that we know of, computers and telescopes and the like, but what did they have? And what were they capable of? The Egyptians, Mayans, Incas, Asians, Babylonians, and even the Hawaiians had sophisticated bodies of knowledge which extended to such disciplines as philosophy, engineering, astronomy, agriculture, navigation, medicine, and mathematics. These were often highly organized, and the knowledge traditions propagated and developed by kahunas, priests, shamans, medicine men, Toltec masters, and the like. We just call these people today scientists. And we still today have no reasonable explanation, for example, of the magnitude and precision in the building of the Egyptian necropolis of Giza and the Druids' Stonehenge. Their precision in astrological science is mind-boggling. The peoples of these times also saw a different night sky that we city dwellers do today. Have you ever taken a trip to a remote area and viewed the totally clear, star-filled sky? Well, this is what ancient peoples saw all the time. And at night, instead of watching television, they surfed the night sky, night after night, noting its nuances and forming vast bodies of knowledge over thousands of years. Their capabilities, then, become much more plausible in this context.
Now, what about the homework I gave you, Robert?
Ah, yes, thanks, Lance. Can't come to class without my homework done. Well, I understand that your class has relied heavily on current readings from the world's standard sources for current economic affairs, like the New York Times Business News, Financial Post, Fortune magazine. I have read through a number of these articles myself. What has been an underlying theme in explaining the financial collapse and systemic crisis we find ourselves in?
Many of the articles lay the blame for the collapse on man's basic human nature to be greedy and selfish.
Yes, that seems to be a reoccurring conclusion, once all the technical analysis has been done pertaining to toxic assets, derivatives, credit default swaps, deregulation, global trades and tariffs, the IMF, bubbles, and Milton Friedman's Chicago School of Business conjectures. Many articles end on this note. It's just our human nature to be greedy and selfish. That's it. The final word. You would do it too, if you had the chance to make that kind of short-term money. Morality is discounted because, hey, it's just our human nature, right? So how many buy this? How many here believe this to be true?
Excuse me, but I think I have heard enough. For starters, the class knows where I stand on this. I frankly think you are way off base, Robert, and I am more than mildly annoyed that we have an astrologer as a guest speaker at our class. I mean, it's sort of interesting cocktail party stuff, but the fact is this is a business school. I paid my tuition to learn business, not some hocus-pocus pseudoscience. With all due respect, Professor Bolt, I can't believe you've brought a magician to our class. We are not children to be entertained. I intend to make as much money as I can when I graduate, and I have to say, you've simply not delivered. I've hung in until now, and I know I'm not the only one that feels we've been shortchanged with your New Age conspiracy theories. Well, I have a prediction. I predict Lance Bolt will never teach another class at this school again, or maybe anywhere else. I am heading to the dean's office now to register my complaint. I can get you fired, you know. Scotty, let's go.
Anyone else feel like Jay? You are welcome to leave now. If not, I will ask Robert to complete making his point.
Okay, yes. Greedy and selfish? For the majority remaining, how does that sound to you? Is that the last word in the financial collapse? That it is dog-eat-dog out there, and anyone in the position to make huge amounts of money immorally would do so? How many greedy and selfish humans are left in the class?
I get it. All our classes are organized in teams and we tend to cooperate versus compete. In fact, Clarkson is known for pioneering team-based learning and even sustainable business practices. The triple bottom line, we are told: profit, people, and the planet. Now, Robert, are you going to tell us the Mayans knew this?
You are really on the right track. But first, let me ask another question. If we are, in fact, all basically greedy and selfish, what is there to prevent this financial crisis from happening again in the future, potentially with even graver consequences?
Well, nothing. In fact, if history is any indication, we will keep riding this bus until it goes over the cliff. Man is too greedy and short-sighted to do otherwise. Change only comes when man has no choice. When everything collapses, then there will be motivation to change, when there is no longer a choice. In the meantime, we will continue to choose to do things for short-term gain. This is quite an obvious pattern. Look at the outcome of Enron. We all followed the drama and analysis in 1995, and here we are in 2008 doing the same, only on a much bigger crisis. Now that's human nature. It's not called the United States of Amnesia for nothing. If the banks are bailed out, this will eventually spread to entire countries.
Well put, Fahad. The key word you hit on again is choice. Now here's what else the Mayans knew. And this is the money shot and why Lance invited me here today. Like I've said, life is a series of choices, one choice after another. Choices that are made based upon fear, separateness, the ego, domination over others, are of low vibration. A place I would suggest Jay and Scotty are personally at today. At one time, choices based on these low vibration perspectives served us as a species, but we are evolving to a higher state of consciousness. And the Mayans understood this. The fact is that the planetary alignments as we proceed into this next Mayan cycle favor our choices that come from a higher vibrational or state of consciousness. So instead of competition, choices based on cooperation will produce better results. Choices that are based on love and compassion and not fear will produce the greatest return on investment and personal reward.
So in a business context, how might this apply? Yes, Chris?
A business that is organized on a more cooperative setup then, as opposed to the traditional CEO-led corporation acting out of self-interest of shareholders, may be favored in the future.
A good observation. Anything else? How about the current collapsed central banking financial system itself? Michael?
Local banking, healthy regional economies, and a decentralized ways to settle accounts without the control of a government or central bank would be a more sustainable model.
And no more wars. This is an incredible waste of human potential and material resources. Wars are based on fear, extraction of someone else's resources, and the domination of others. Imagine what could be done.
Yes, take all the people, money, and resources we use annually in waging war, and you will feed, clothe, and educate every person on the planet, no one excluded. So to conclude on Robert's message and on Fahad's original question from week 7 about the end of time, we see there is a choice ahead for you as business people. A choice to stick to the old paradigm, business as usual, dog, eat dog world, ruled by short-term gain, greed, and fear, or choose to create a sustainable world community built upon cooperation and morality.
Excuse me, Professor Bolt, but I must come into your classroom.
Of course, Dean Clarkson. I see good news travels quickly here.
I've just had a disturbing complaint from one of your students. Professor, do you have an astrologer as a guest speaker at Clarkson here today?
Why, yes. Let me introduce you to my colleague, Robert Sabella. He is an authority on applications of astrology in business decision-making. We are almost done today, but you are welcome to sit in for the remainder of the class.
Sit in. Excuse me, Professor, you know the rules. This is outrageous.
First of all, Professor Bolt, you know the rules. All guest speakers, prior to being allowed to speak on campus, are to be approved by me as administrative dean.
Really, Bolt? An astrologer? You've gone way over the line this time. I could abide some of your conspiracy theory discussions, but an astrologer? We are running a business school here. This is Clarkson.
As I was saying, a choice between love and fear.
I'm sorry, Bolt. That will be enough. Under the circumstances, I have no choice but to suspend you immediately, pending a full academic committee review. Professor Robotham here will conclude your responsibilities for this class from here forward.
Wait a minute, excuse me, but this is bullshit.
Yeah, what about us?
Yes, we've helped create this class. I'm the one that asked about the December 24th, 2012 and the Mayan prediction of the end of time.
That was a ridiculous question. This isn't a cocktail party.
And even more ridiculous to follow it up with an unapproved speaker on the subject.
Wait a minute. There's an economic crisis out there. Are you telling us that Clarkson pays no regard to this? Are you telling us that the solutions to this mess are going to come from the same thinking that got us into this mess? Your son Jay is the one that's way off base here. You don't have to be Einstein to see that you have to think differently. I didn't come here to hear the same old business as usual dogma. I expected more from Clarkson. Professor Bolt was on the right track as far as I'm concerned. At least he's and we in the class are looking at things from a creative problem-solving point of view in order to get to the truth.
Truth-seeking has nothing to do with it. This isn't a divinity school. I'm afraid he's only on one track, and that's out the door. And it is of his own making.
The deans are right. It's a choice I made. And yes, looks like my choices will be leading me elsewhere down the road to a much larger classroom, I suspect. I have no regrets. End of class barbecue is still on at my beach house this evening, and Robert will be there for any more questions. It's been my pleasure to have gone through the class experience with you all. Later then.
Hey, Robert, what about the name thing?
A magician never reveals his secrets.
Excuse me, Professor. Have a couple minutes?
Sure, Lucy. Come on in. But you can call me Lance now. I've been relieved of my professorial duties at Clarkson. What a relief. And don't intend to stick around for the administrative review.
Well, that was a real shit show. You must be just a little frazzled.
Well, not really. I wasn't expecting the classroom dramatics. So unfair to the class.
To Robert as well.
Oh, Robert's fine. He found it mostly amusing.
So what's next for you, Professor Lance?
I really don't like to plan too far ahead. Gotta let a few things sink in and consult my inner compass in a few days as to what direction feels right. Care to join me for some shot in the dark? A drink seems appropriate, and I'm obviously on my way out, and you no longer are my student.
Sure. I kind of like the new arrangement. I don't want to be too forward there, Lancelot, but I've felt a bit of a connection for a while.
A connection, as in harmonic resonance? Do you mean like lanterns in the void?
It's all vibration.
Very well, then.
To new beginnings. You've dribbled. Not nervous, are you, Lancelot? Let me get that.
Whoops. Oh, hello there, Lucy. Sorry to interrupt. Still 7 o'clock at your place tonight, right?
Yep. Now just set the door to lock on your way out, buddy. Thanks.